morning, everybody. Rosie woke up at 6. She slept through really well last night. She did her first stretch of like 4 hours, I believe. And then she woke up for like literally 15 minutes. She changed her diaper, did a really quick feeding, and she was right back down. And then she slept 3 or 3.5 hours. So she had slept like 7.5 hours. And that means that at 6 a.m. she was awake. And I stayed up with her because Jeremy has to work, so I want him to get some sleep. So I stayed up with her till 7. And then she seemed sleepy again, so I woke up Jeremy because he's just better at like transferring her into the crib from there. She slept like an extra maybe 30 or 45 minutes. I think it was 45 minutes. Yeah. So she slept till like 7:45. Jeremy took her and I got to sleep an extra 45 minutes. So that was really, really nice. And now we have to get up and get ready before Jeremy has to head off to work. So it's about 8:30. Gonna get dressed, go have breakfast, and make lunch for Jeremy. So I live a very luxurious life where I sleep in, Jeremy takes the baby, he makes me breakfast. Maybe that's why I'm not sleep deprived.
Man of your dreams.
Do I do things for you?
Yeah, you do things for me. You know, every 3 weeks. I'm
People are gonna think I don't take care of my baby.
It's a joke. Tristan takes care of us so well.
Yeah, he's forgetting to say that I let him
cleans the house, does all kinds of things.
I let him sleep from 6 to 7. We took turns. I'm zooming in because I'm trying not to show Rosie.
She's gonna want a booby soon.
Time to eat. Rosie wants to eat too.
No, don't walk on Rosie.
Oh. So I didn't get to finish my breakfast because little Miss Somebody is sleepy. Oh, she's doing smiles. She's doing smiles. Little Miss Somebody is sleepy. We need to change her diaper and feed her and put her down for a little nap on Mommy for 3 hours. So who's not going to get to eat her breakfast? Mommy!
Yay!
Oh my goodness, it's a stinker. All clean. All clean. Mama dropped it on the floor. Mama dropped it on the floor. Mwah. Okay, I'm gonna feed her and get her down. Post me. We are post 2-hour nap, and Roro just woke up screaming and crying with tears in her eyes. It was so sad. After napping on me for 2 hours. 2 hours, baby. And so I fed her again, and I'm changing her diaper. Welcome to life as a new mom. Lots of diapers and lots of milk. Lots of diapers, lots of milk. You're so sweet. She's still sleepy. She's like sleepy smiling. Also, I highly recommend getting a cart like this if you're expecting, because we didn't get one, and it was the thing that right after she was born we were like, we need this, and it's the thing that we use the most. It's the thing that we use the most, so even like as a gift for a baby shower, highly recommend. Also, we use this on the bed way more than we'll ever use her actual changing table. Isn't that right, baby? Why is there big hair in there? See, because we got 4 cats. Oh. Smile. Smile. Good morning. Good morning. You're feeling happy, eh? You're feeling happy? I love you. I love you and your smiles. So throughout this vlog, I was thinking of whenever I have time, just like popping in with little things that I wish I would have known postpartum, and that could kind of be like the theme of the vlog. Since the day is pretty repetitive, we do nap, we do feeding, we do diaper, nap, feed, diaper, nap, feed, diaper, a little bit of play, of course, in her wake windows. Everything is pretty routine, so I'm just gonna throw in a little bit of extra tips and stuff for postpartum. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, which has made a tremendous difference, and it's the reason why I want to start with this in case I don't have time to film all of my little tad bits of info. She's doing little giggles and smiles. First thing that I want to talk about, the most important thing that I find has helped tremendously, especially as she's gotten a little bit older, so like in the last few weeks I find it's helped a lot, is understanding wake windows, nap durations, and how it affects the nighttime. So what we were finding was that she wasn't taking very long naps during the day, and she's having a hard time meeting the target hours of sleep. I think for a newborn you're supposed to get between, like, I think it's 14 and 17 hours of sleep, or 15 and 18 depending where you look, but she was having a hard time hitting that that target every day. Her naps were really short, and she was waking up cranky and crying a lot. So I did a little bit of research. I found the Taking Care of Babies website, which is a very well-known one. I know a lot of people have followed their conseil, their advice. And so basically what I found out is that babies, based on their age, have a certain amount of time that they should be awake. And if you respect that awake time, for her it's currently about between 50 minutes and an hour and a half, so 50 and 90 minutes. Well, speaking of that, it might be time for her next nap. Yeah, soon. So I'll have to wrap this up really quick. Also, the Baby Plus app really helps you keep track of when their last sleep, feed, and diaper change was. But yeah, so 50-90 minutes, keeping them awake for that amount of time, stimulating them, playing with them, putting them in the chair, doing like little faces and motions with your hands, and talking with them, singing. We give her like a sound bath in there with music, massaging them, but just doing things to stimulate them for that amount of time, and then putting them right down for a nap before they get fussy right after that. It is life-changing. They end up sleeping better at night. She's actually waking up once per night now, and when we follow that, everything is amazing. She wakes up happy, her nights are amazing. When we don't follow that during the day, the nights are like super chaotic. She wakes up crying during the day. It's just like a wreck. So highly recommend that. And also one more tip from the Taking Care of Babies website, or maybe it was from a different website, but I think it was from there. After 50 minutes of sleeping, they transition from their light sleep. She's yawning, it's time for dodo. They transition from their light sleep to their deep sleep, and they have a hard time doing that. So often at 50 minutes, you'll notice they wake up, and they actually just need help to like fall back asleep. So you should try to extend their nap, because it's supposed to last about 2 hours. That is my first tip for postpartum for taking care of a baby. Right now I need to go put her back down to sleep, so I'm gonna go do that. So baby is beside me just chilling. She slept a little bit, like for an hour. I had to move her because she was like right on my tummy. She was right on my tummy where I had my C-section. Hi! And so it was causing me a bit of discomfort, and when I moved her, she woke up. So yeah, so she woke up, we had her wake window, and we're about to restart the whole routine. So I'm gonna feed her again, and she'll probably go down for a nap soon, although right now she seems pretty awake and happy. So I'm probably just going to chill with her for a little bit longer. But before I feed her, I thought of another thing that I would say is good for postpartum, and that is to have a haaka. So it's written H-A-A-K-A, and it's basically like this little circle thing that you place on the boob, and you press on it and it suctions, and it kind of has a hole where your nipple is, and basically when you're breastfeeding on one side, the other side lets down milk, and so the haaka collects all of that. And so far, everything that I stored in my freezer as a stash for when we do bottles is all from the haaka. That is a really useful thing to know, or thing to get for your postpartum. You talking, Rosie? You're talking. Talk, talk, talk. What you saying? Something else, I don't know if I'll have time right now to say it all, but something else, I'm a little bit all over the place with my thoughts about postpartum, but something else to keep in mind is that, for me anyways, after I had baby, I had a lot of maternal separation anxiety, meaning that I had a really hard time being away from her, even if it was just like in a different room from her. I couldn't even walk outside. Like, I felt like I really just wanted to be with her all the time. Someone told me this is called momototo or momototo in a different culture or something, but it's basically that the baby is still like part of you. So it's really hard to just like separate. So postpartum, keeping visitors at a minimal amount, and being just very clear with your boundaries and how you're feeling, I think is really important. If you don't feel like you want to have other people hold the baby, maybe are you okay? Here, come. If you don't feel like you want other people to hold the baby, that's also okay, and it's okay to speak that and to let people know. Oh baby, is it dodo time? Okay, we'll do dodo. Okay, I'll come back on that thought later. You are hungry and tired now? Okay. Okay. Good morning. I did not end up filming the rest of the other day because once baby went to sleep, she ended up waking up screaming. Like, I've never seen her scream before. I don't know if that's like the 6-week crying peak that the doctors told us about and the midwife told us about, or if it's just because she was having like really bad gas, but it was really, really intense, and she was crying so much that she started gagging, and I started crying as well because it was just like, seeing your baby like that is just a lot to handle, and I ended up asking Jeremy to come home from work to help me because it was a lot. So that's why I didn't film for the rest of the day. But that did give me the time to write down a few things that I wanted to mention about postpartum. Not really postpartum, more about like things to know about a newborn that I wasn't aware of, / also postpartum, just like things that I have been thinking about. So in the last clip I was talking about boundaries and about maternal separation anxiety. I think I kind of covered that, just talking about how you have a hard time leaving your baby at all, letting other people hold the baby. I think it's like that. I think it's pretty universal for all mothers, but I don't think it's very talked about. So that was one thing that I wasn't expecting, that I felt a lot and that I had a hard time dealing with, because I felt like people expected to be able to hold the baby and stuff like that. So that was just one of the things that I struggled with. Besides that, another thing that was more about me, I suppose, was the baby blues. The first 2 weeks is very emotional, and then it suddenly just stops. Like, you suddenly just feel really good again after 2 weeks. So that was also a little weird. I guess it's like a huge hormonal shift, but the first 2 weeks were like very heavy. I cried a lot, and everything just feels like a lot. Not the baby or anything, but like your emotions feel very overwhelming. And then after the 2 weeks, for some reason, it just goes away. So that was also interesting. I now understand what the baby blues meant. Before, I thought it was like postpartum depression, just like less severe, but it's really just like a 2-week overwhelming amount of emotion, and then it ends. And in terms of baby, the two other things that I wanted to mention was more about the sleeping. So number one, something that happened a lot at the beginning of when we had baby was that she was in a bassinet, actually this bassinet beside the bed. Well, actually the first 3 nights we co-slept, and then we ended up putting her in the bassinet after that because I was a little bit nervous about co-sleeping and if there's risks and all that stuff. As you guys know, I'm a very cautious person. So she was in that bassinet, and as you can see, we can't see through that, and it's about leveled with the bed. So when I would wake up anytime in the middle of the night, I had this impression that the baby was in the bed with me, but I couldn't see the baby, and so I would start to panic, and I would start looking in the sheets for her and being like, where's the baby? And then I'd wake up Jeremy, and he would be like, it's okay, she's in my arms. And he'd actually like hold the blankets, like he would sleep holding the blankets as if it was a baby, and I would sleep on my side holding blankets as if it was a baby. So both of us would be like, she's here, it's fine. And then Jeremy would look down and go, and like he realized the baby's not in the blankets, and then he would be panicking like, where's the baby? And I'd be panicking like, where's the baby? And then we would look and see the bassinet, and we look in the bassinet, and the baby was in the bassinet. And never at any point did we fall asleep with the baby in our arms or anything. But I think it's just like our brain is wired to think that the baby is always with us and co-sleeping with us. And I think that's how we've always probably been throughout all of history. We've always probably co-slept with babies. So when we wake up and the baby's not right there in our arms, we freak out and we're like, the baby's gone. So that's something that I realized over time, and like that conclusion is one that I came up with, like that reasoning behind why you panic every single time that we wake up, like multiple times a night for weeks on end. It would happen all the time. So we ended up switching to a crib where we could actually see her through the bars. But originally the crib was across the room. And so I would wake up again all night, multiple times a night, being like, where's the baby? Because I didn't immediately see her. And I would wake up Jeremy and I'd be like, where is she? Like, we lost her, kind of thing. And he'd be like, she's in the crib. But like by this time, I think he kind of got out of that routine and he kind of knew. So he would be like, she's in the crib. And I'd be like, and then I would finally see her. And then be able to go back to sleep. But that was what was making me lose sleep more than her actually waking up during the night. So in the end, one night I was so fed up because I was like, I'm missing out on sleep, not even because she's waking up, but because I'm panicking thinking she's gone like 6 times a night. So I ended up in the morning just like waking up being like, I'm so fed up of doing that. And Jeremy was still asleep, and I moved the entire room around, and he woke up and was like, what are you doing? And I took the crib and I moved it right next to the bed, like the crib and the bed are stuck together kind of thing, so that, and it's on the side that I sleep on, so every time I open my eyes she's right there and I see her. And ever since then I haven't woken up panicking, wondering where she is. So that's kind of like my solution to being able to sleep better without necessarily co-sleeping, but still having her beside me and having like the bars so that my blankets can't end up in her crib, she can't end up in a crack when she starts rolling over. So I feel like we're co-sleeping and I can always see her at all times, but we're not actually co-sleeping. So that was something I wasn't expecting, that I just thought was interesting, and I don't know, could help you maybe not have like 6 different setups, because we also were in one room, then we realized that the crib wouldn't fit in that room, so we had to change to another room and like move all the furniture around. So if you know that before having a baby, you might not have to do all those things with a newborn. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about was also night noises. People on like podcasts and stuff, I remember specifically I think Matt and Abby saying babies make a lot of noise in their sleep. And the first few weeks I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. And the reason why I didn't know what they were talking about is because every time the baby would be like making the kind of sounds where they go like I would get up and pick them up because I would think that they're awake. And what I've learned over the last, I think, 2 weeks is that when they're doing that, they're not awake. They just do that in their sleep. And if you leave them for like 5 minutes, they stop and they just continue sleeping. And then they get better sleep and you get better sleep. So those sounds are not necessarily because they're awake and because they need you. It's just something that they do in their sleep. When they're actually awake, they'll make more of like a crying sound, but not fully crying. And also their eyes will be open. So differentiating between those two things also will save you a lot of sleep, and them a lot of sleep, and they'll wake up a lot happier. It kind of goes hand in hand with the taking care of babies, wake window, nap thing. So anyways, those are just some things that I have found very helpful to know in the last 6 weeks. And so yeah, thank you guys for being here, for hanging out with me on a Sunday. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, to hit the like button, to let me know if you have any other questions below, or if you want to leave tips for anybody else, feel free to do that. I will see you next Sunday as usual. Have a great week. Bye everyone.